Hey, we're back, and we got another story for you, and this time it's a real doozy. It's Palm Sunday, folks, which means we're telling the story of Jesus' triumphant entry into the city of Jerusalem. Are you ready, Harvey?
Yeah.
You ready, Mia?
Yeah.
Good.
Go team.
Go team. Jesus and his disciples were preparing to head into Jerusalem. Jesus told the disciples, "I need 2 of you to help me go get a donkey and a colt."
Okay. What? Why does he need 2? I don't know. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Why would he need 2?
So the disciples made their way into Jerusalem looking for a donkey and a colt.
The Lord needs your donkeys. Both of them? Yeah. Yep. Why does he need 2? I don't know. Where?
Perfect. The disciples returned to Jesus with a donkey and a colt.
We got them. Both of them.
People all over the city were talking about the rumors that this rabbi would be coming into the city. People had all sorts of thoughts about what he would be doing and what would happen once he showed up. "I heard he's going to run the Romans out of town." "I heard that he's the chosen one."
I heard there's gonna be pizza every day.
I heard he's going to put a soda machine in the cafeteria.
I heard he's gonna be king.
"I heard he's going to be drafted by the Bengals. Super Bowl, baby!" The people had lined the streets, waiting for Jesus' triumphant entry.
That's why he needed 2.
This is incredible!
No, he didn't.
No, you're right. That's not what happened at all.
Like what?
And Jesus enters the city on a donkey and a colt to this triumphant cheers, shouts of Hosanna, shouts of praise and thanksgiving. They waved palm branches in the sky. They threw their garments on the ground. People were so excited.
He's gonna be king.
The Pharisees approached Jesus and said,
Bro, you gotta calm down. It's getting real noisy.
"Look, guys, I'd love to, but if they weren't cheering, rocks would be cheering." And that's what happened. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and hearing again this story. And thanks for, I don't know if you know you've done this, you've begun Holy Week with us here at Good Shepherd. Holy Week's going to look a lot different, but I do think this year it's going to be very, very meaningful. We hope you'll participate in hearing this story and maybe even partaking in it. I love Palm Sunday because there's always the fanfare and the waving of the palms. It's all exciting, and all the people are together. But this time, since we're doing the social distancing thing, it's going to be a little different. But that doesn't mean we can't still celebrate the day. So what we're going to invite you to do is, if your family's been taking a walk more often than normal, find, if you can, a piece of green, something like a sprig. Or if you don't have that, make one out of paper. But draw a little green palm or find a little green branch. And when you take a walk today, I want you to take the sprig and wave it around a little bit. You might look a little strange, so maybe you don't have to do it too much. But just carry it with you and try to remember the excitement of what that must have been for all the people's hopes of Jesus showing up in their city and changing the story for them. For those of you who don't know, at this point in the history of God's people, they were struggling. They were occupied by the Romans, and their hope was that Jesus was going to show up and he was going to set them free, like a new David, right? He's going to conquer the old kings and restore the nation back to its full glory. And they're waiting for his triumphant entry to the city. And he fulfills the prophecy by coming in through the gate. And then he also fulfills the prophecy by riding a colt and a donkey somehow. It was probably just him riding one and pulling the other. It's not that strange. But he's fulfilling all these hopes. And can you imagine the diversity of hopes they'd have? That he'd be a warrior king, that he'd be like a rock star, that he'd be this dynamic speaker, that he would be able to send away their oppressors. And what we know is that he enters the city with cheering, and within a week, people are going to be cheering again to crucify him. It's strange how our hopes can change, how our expectations can change, how impatient we can become, how frustrated we can be with sometimes the hard work of restorative hope and restorative life and resurrection itself. They're expecting something, but they get something else, this humble teacher from the Galilee. So this week, I want you to remember who our teacher is. This week, I want you to consider engaging in the story. Read the Passion narrative, maybe on Good Friday. But be on the lookout, too, as we're going to make some more videos as you engage this week. But also, don't miss out on the opportunity to celebrate a bit in the midst of this. As challenging as it is, remember, God still has a plan. God's still working towards restoring the world to grace and peace. And if you want to see how God's doing that, look for the fruit of God's Spirit in people. Look for people who are practicing kindness. Look for people who are practicing patience, self-control, people who are loving, people who are being self-sacrificial. Think of all the doctors and nurses. Think of the people who are working in grocery stores. Think of all the people that are doing the really important work. And give thanks for them. Thank them personally. Jesus was cheered for when he showed up, and then he was shouted at when they were trying to send him away. I hope after this, we continue to root for servants in our community. We keep cheering for people who help their neighbor. We keep rooting for the person who rides in on a donkey and a colt. We don't idolize people who roll in big horses and swords. We don't imagine the hero we always need as one with a sword. We start rooting, again, for the servant, for the one who loves us, for the one who serves their neighbor with compassion. Well, think about that this week. Also consider, who in the story were you? Who's somebody in the story you relate with? What's something that surprised you in the story? Anyways, have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
That's why he needed to.
This is incredible! Wow!